What's up, boys? In this video we're finally going to do a proper governor delete and a carburetor on this bike. Now those of y'all who watched the last video, we did a PZ19 Carb on this bike and we didn't have a lot of low end speed, so we're going to put this PZ19 Carb in here and let's just say it's a lot better. Also going to fully remove the governor, and as you can see she's blocked off over there. So yeah, so I'm going to send you to that right now, and right about the midpoint it's going to seem like I've started a new video because I was going to separate these two, but then I was like there wasn't enough to do to make them two separate videos, so I just combined them into one. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and go right into the governor delete, and then we're going to go into the PZ19 Carb swap, and after that there's going to be a long ride, and stay tuned for that because we really tried to blow up that motor. Without the governor it's going to be really hard to blow up, so yeah, let's get started. Okay, let's start off by removing the gas tank bolts, just like that, and the other one. And there's one more bolt right here. So now that we have the gas tank out of the way, let's remove those zip ties that are holding in that governor arm. And there we go. I just disconnected the fuel line to my aftermarket carburetor over here, and the gas tank can just go right away. If you don't have one of these fuel shutoff valves on your gas tank, you're gonna wanna empty your gas tank before you do this mod. Now let's remove this plastic cover that's covering the clutch assembly and chain. It's a couple of 10mm bolts near the motor and a Phillips screwdriver in the back. Now for the Phillips, now this thing can come completely out. A little bit of finagling is required. Get out. There it goes. Now let's get the clutch off, the chain off, and all that wonderful stuff. The bolt only crankshaft for the clutch is a 10mm. Use an impact and get that thing off. Now let's look for the master link. So we can just rotate the chain until we find it right there. Now we get some pliers and just take it off. Oh, got it. Oh, I bent it. Darn it, I bent the clip. Anywho, now we can just poke that out, yank, and now we can just slide that. And there's our chain removed. Make sure you don't lose the clips or any of the pieces for the chain because you're gonna need those for later. Okay, now we can just slide the clutch off. Just like that. A little rusty in there. And let's get our washer right there. Make sure we don't lose that because that's our chain spacing right there. Now we can get the side cover off. Now make sure that you drain the oil out of the motor before you take the side cover off, unless you want to mess everywhere. But some people call it a quick oil change. But I went ahead and emptied it so I can kind of keep this area clean. I don't want to get oil all over the floor. So let's just take these off. Little 8mm bolts holding the side cover on. There we go. And make sure you got some napkins ready because there's going to be a little bit of residual oil that comes out. So now we just gently pry, making sure we don't destroy our gasket. And there we go. See that residual oil down there? Gonna try to quickly clean it up. Probably been a while since I've seen the inside of a 79, but dang, look how little everything is. So used to building 212s and still considered small block engines over here. I would like to consider this as a small block, but so yeah, let's get a closer look in there with a flashlight and let's continue. Okay, now you can kind of see inside the engine over here. So we have our governor arm up here, and as you can see, mine's been moved, and actually it was hidden the crank. So I don't know if y'all watched the last video where we did that riding thing and y'all were hearing the ticking sound. Sounded a lot like that, but just really quiet. So yeah, and really fast. So that was happening really fast. Looks like the dipper is a little too long on the rod. But anywho, we're getting besides the point over here. If we need to remove this governor and this whole thing up here, and toss it as far as we can. So let's get started. Okay, so this top arm up here is a 10mm bolt. You can just loosen that up. And let's not lose it. There we go. And now we can just pry it off with a flat head. And in my case, there we go. Got the arm off. And now we can get the clip out. Might be easier to get some pliers and just, there we go. There's the clip. Now you can see that arm is kind of free. So let's rotate the motor just a wee bit and see if we can just slip it right out. Got it. Okay, now that we just cut it, we can just kind of wiggle. There we go. And there's the arm out of the motor. Don't need that no more. Now let's work on the governor part. Now let's get this little pin thing out of there. So yeah, it turns out if you just hit it hard enough, it comes out. So let's do the hardest part now, and it's getting this little pin out. You can try to use toothpicks like I am right here and just pry it open, but it's just so hard. Some people resort to smashing this thing, just hitting it with a hammer until it breaks, destroying the gear. There's all kinds of techniques to get this little pin out. Whatever you gotta do to get it out the best or get it out the easiest, you do you. It'd be cool if it would go on camera for me, but you know, the possibilities of that happening are probably zero. I guess this is a good time to say, consider subscribing, because we have a lot of projects coming up, most likely to do with more Coleman bikes, but that's all I'll mention right now. With that being said, I will catch y'all whenever I get this miserable clip out. All right, boys, I believe thy pin has been destroyed. So now just slide it out like that, like it's nothing, you know. That's it right there, stupid little pin. Once you got that out, the governor can pretty much just slide out. Grab your favorite pair of pliers. Got a little bit more room now, so let's grab this and just pull it out. Just like that. There she is. Now let's get that black washer out that's in the back over there. All right, that's everything inside the crankcase that we were taking out. Exhibit A. So now let's just get a towel in there. I'm gonna sweep up some of this metal debris back here. The oil doesn't even look that bad. It just, you can see how hot stuff's getting. The heat marks on the crankshaft are showing. All right, that looks clean to me. Nothing down there that's gonna stay and just get caught in the rod and chew everything up. So let's plug the hole in the top of the motor now. All right, got it all toweled up here. And I'll have the dimensions to this bolt in the link down below. I believe it's a 1/4-20, but I don't wanna get that wrong. So if you wanna get some of those screws that plug up this, we're not gonna tap it, we're just gonna force thread it in there. I heard it seals up better. So we're gonna do that, and we don't have to use a tap and die set. Also, just wanted to mention, make sure you grab that washer that's holding the governor arm on this little hole, because you don't want to leave that in there whenever we seal everything back up. So yeah, let's get this thing in there. All right, I'm using an 11 mil to get this thing in there. Just slowly. Yeah, okay, you don't want to go too tight or else you'll chew up the threads we're kind of making in there. So there we go. You can put some sealant in here or some gasket maker or something to seal up that hole, but I just plug it and call it a day. Now we can take out our cloth, make sure it's all clean in there. And now make sure that the bolt is not gonna touch the crank. It's not, it's all flush. It actually sits perfectly flush with the top of the case. So there we go. Everything's clean in there. Everything looks good. Cam, we didn't even take the cam out, but it is sliding out a little bit. Okay, I just pushed the cam in just a little bit and she's in. Now let's get our side cover, and I'm actually going to clean up all this residual oil down there just in case it has some metal debris in it. We don't want to get that all in our motor. All right, all cleaned up, and I made sure to add a little bit of oil in here just to make sure there's a little bit in there. You don't want too much, we're just gonna fall out immediately when you put it back on, but yeah. Also, double check that your gasket is 100%. This one looks pretty good. We didn't destroy it taking it off. And also this motor hasn't been run too much. We just did the break-in oil, so yeah. Let's get the side cover back on. Over that little grommet on the frame. There it goes. Make sure you have your dowel pins still in your motor. You don't wanna get that thing unaligned. So there it goes. Clap it back together. Now let's get our 8mm bolts. They look to be all the same. And let's just put them all back in here. And now we're just gonna torque them down to however the hell I feel like. That sounds good. All right, definitely did not almost just strip that. So don't use an impact, just tighten them by hand until they're snug. I would not use an impact, so yeah. Because if you strip one of those bolts, you're gonna have a fun time replacing the block. So let's get the clutch assembly back on. So let's get our original washer right there, followed with the clutch. You know, I should probably put some anti-seize on here or something, but that is exactly what I don't have, so that's what we're not doing. So now let's get the clutch bolt right here with that red Loctite on it. They really didn't want that thing coming out. And this is one thing you do want to use an impact for. Tighten down with the red Loctite so that thing really ain't coming off now. So let's get the chain back on. Got it like this, and now I'm going to attach it in the rear, so let's bring you over there. So I don't know if other people's chains are gonna be this tight. I know mine certainly is. So yeah, gonna get your hands a little dirty, but you know, you ain't having fun if your hands aren't dirty, am I right? I can't see, so hopefully y'all can guide me. There we go. Okay, got that master link in there and rotated it a little bit so y'all can see. Let's get the little clasp or whatever that thing's called. And then let's get our clip, which obviously you can see mine is bent. So I'm gonna fix that real quick. All right, I kind of fixed it up a little bit. She's a little mangled, but you know, it'll work. So there's that. Now we can get it and just put it back down. Just like that. I'm gonna squeeze it because I did mangle it a little bit. Okay, now that the chain is on, we can get our cover, and I'm gonna clean a little bit of this up. It's just the grease from the chain being brand new. Okay, I got most of it out. So here goes the cover being installed. Just like that. Now we can get the bolts holding it in, the 10 mil, and just put it right into the side. There's 3 that go on the front, and then there's 1 Phillips that goes in the back. Now I just got to get that last bolt, or screw if you would. It's not a bolt. And the job is complete. I'm forgetting a really important detail. We need gas, don't we? Okay, so I'm gonna just set this in here, and we have to install it with the 8mm bolts. So we got 1 right here, and we got more on the other side. First, I'm gonna plug in this fuel line. Hopefully y'all can kind of see. We got the fuel line plugged back in, and the fuel's still off on our valve. So now let's get our bolts for the fuel tank and install those back in. There's that one, and also this one is our ground. So we got to make sure to put that ground wire back in. There we go. Oh, there we go. And now we just snug those down and we're done. There we go. Now we have successfully removed this arm that was hitting the crankshaft in the way down here. Throw that away, and now it's all clean. So now if you didn't already install a performance carburetor, you can. This one's the PZ20. We did this one in a previous video, actually a while ago, and this was actually on a black frame. So now this whole motor is on a red frame. Next video, we're gonna switch to a PZ19 Carb, and that's just because I think this one's a tad too big. So, all right, we got one more before I forget type thing we need to do. Yeah, cannot forget to put oil in this thing. That would be catastrophically bad. I'm gonna clean off that dipstick just a wee bit, clean off this little fill, get our funnel, install that, and yep, there we go. I'm gonna add a little splash of STP. The label fell off. So yeah, just a little splash. Stabilize stuff inside the motor. Oh, not drop the funnel. Good thing that stuff's sticky. It's almost like slimy. It's just gonna mix with the oil once we add the oil in. There we go. Now I just put some oil in it. Don't know how much I'm gonna put in it yet. Just gonna go until the dipstick. We see it like midway up on the dipstick. All right, now that we're full, we can just put the cap back on and call it a day. Now it's 100% complete. Let's go take it for a little test drive, see how she runs. Just to make sure she still runs, go ahead and pull it. There we go, all good. right, boys, we just finished the governor delete on this video. Let's start doing the carb swap. Now we're gonna swap this PZ20 carb out for a PZ19. We're gonna do some tuning and see what carb gives us the best gains. So let's get started. Also, look at all these parts we gotta install. All these parts will be installed on the channel. Just wait, we got a lot of stuff to do. So subscribe so you don't miss any of it. And yeah, let's get started with this carb, which is this box. And I'm talking, we just finished removing this thing. So yeah, if y'all didn't see that video, ooh, look, she's a little crusty in there. All right, here's the carburetor straight from Amazon. Let's get this thing out. And as always, all these parts I'm using in this video will be linked down below. So if you want to grab one for yourself, you definitely can. Well, let's start off by removing this air filter that is on there and probably rubbing against the frame. Yep, sure was. And a little oily. Ugh. And yeah, this gasket on the PZ20, I don't know if y'all saw the very first few videos with the black FRP frame. Yeah, the gasoline ended up warping this gasket or expanding it. So the gasket never fit right. So now I kind of had to poke it outside of the carb. Whole ordeal for the other video. I'm just kind of glad we're going to be replacing that and installing a lot nicer of a carb. So yeah, let's get this slide out and just, hello. There we go, slide has been removed. Do our fuel line now. A little bit's gonna drain out, but thankfully we have that fuel cutoff valve. And now we can get these little 8mm bolts off. There we go. Those were not coming off, holy cow. Take this side out like that. And this one like that. And there is our PZ20 carb that's leaking all over me. Oh my gosh, just look at that. Leaking everywhere. Now that we have gas all over our hands, let's take off the bowl of this carburetor and let's swap out some jets. All right, y'all. Moral of the story here is take these to a vise and just manhandle it. I had to end up cutting this bolt right here with a little channel for a flathead because it was stripped. Don't know why they put glue or something on these from the factory and it makes them almost impossible to come off. That one I did take to a vise after stripping this one. So yeah, now I gotta go search for a new screw. It's gonna suck. So yeah, there's that. Now let's get this jet out and start working on that. Okay, I just took the bowl off the PZ19 and I took the stem out and we're just gonna transfer this whole thing right into this PZ19. It should be the same thing. Yep, sure is. Now let's make sure we don't mix up the one. 78 jet and this has nothing on it. So that's the one that came in the PZ19. Put the one with the 78 in and we'll start with that one. We'll just go from there. So let's start with that 70. There's a 78 in there. Future me, write that down. Okay, make sure that gasket's in there now that it's not going to be warped like the other one. And let's get these screws back in. One, and hopefully I'm going to be able to use a bowl screw from the other carb. Yep, sure looks like it. I got lucky there. Make sure you take this whole thing to a vise and loosen those bolts when you first take them out. It's not fun trying to strip them. So yeah, let's get this thing installed onto the motor. All right, let's get our plastic spacer and I think these bolts are gonna be just long enough, so we'll go ahead and reuse those. Slide the bolt back to the intake there, and now we're just tightening it back up. Little 8mm bolts like that, and on the other side. There we go. Tighten down. Our carburetor is installed. Look at the size of the slides. This is the PZ20 and this is the PZ19. It's a lot smaller. Dang. Okay, let's get this out. I might need to cut back on my solder because my soldering was a little too big for that carb. Might be a little astronomical for this one. Yeah, it won't even slide. All right, let's see if it slides in there without any problem. I did lower the clip on the slide so that it won't bog. Yeah, I need to cut the solder a little bit. Okay, now let's try to get this thing in. I put a new little end on there and actually shortened it just a smidge. Hopefully I didn't make it too short. That wouldn't be good. No, I think it's perfect. Slides in all the way. Now we can just put the cap back on. Hear it clapping back down. That's what you want. So now let's get the fuel line on and see if we can start this thing up. So just plug the fuel line on from the other motor. We might as well get our filter on. Won't take that long. Just kind of put it on there, half a word. And I don't know, it's not gonna stay. I need to get a longer one. One that can at least fit. Look how small the gap is. But let's get our fuel going. Open the valve to our fuel line, let the fuel bowl fill up, and let's take this thing off of the bike stand. See if she starts. We're just gonna start pulling. Try choke on, just for one pull. It burped. There we go. There we go. Had to use a pair of pliers to idle it. All right, boys, it has been quite a while. That's gonna be something fun to play with later. I just picked this up today on Marketplace, and I don't know, flathead Briggs, but yeah. We're gonna go take this thing out for a ride. I have not touched this thing in 2 months, so I just put the carburetor on, made sure it fired up, and let it sit. I have not touched it, have not ridden it since the, what is that, a PZ19, right? PZ19 Carb. Also got to do a riding video on this one too, so got a lot of riding to do before it gets dark out there. So let's go see if this thing will fire up and go for a ride, hopefully. So, okay, so got the fuel on and got a little tachometer. It's the same one that we put on the black one with the 224 motor in it. So see if this thing fires up. So little blurps. It's got a choke, so we'll try the choke. Ooh. There we go. 3 pulls, what was that? 3 pulls and a backfire. So it's running. Let's let it warm up a little bit. It hasn't ran in about 2 months. I don't even know if it has oil in it. I bet it does. We did that governor delete and we did put oil in it. So yeah. Oh yeah, pulls so much better than that old carb. It's pulling a lot better than the PZ20 carb. Look at that. No bogging. Same jet as the PZ20. Jesus, it's hot. Oh my god. It's got so much more power. Or like down low. I think the top end is about the same. It's just got a lot more power. And now I really don't have to worry with the internal governor removed, so I can just live at full RPM if I want to. 4 grand. I haven't seen 7 yet. Takeoff from 0 is still pretty bad, but it's a clutch. Can't do much about it. I forgot how bad no suspension was. Could live in luxury. Alright, let's see if we can get it set up. gonna be here. Make sure there's no cars behind us comfortably. Because this thing will barely hit 40. Come on. Right here. I don't know if y'all can see it. No, I think we got too much headwind. I only saw 6710, so that's not good. Wanted to see a little bit more, but 6710. Let's try the way back. Maybe we had a headwind. Come on, please, no car. Cool. Okay, let's go. See more than 6700. It hit 7,000 before. Maybe taking a long break didn't help it. The ARC rod, or not the ARC rod, ARC flywheel. I hope it doesn't have too much of an advanced timing, but maybe the ARC flywheel is a light flywheel, a lot lighter than this old cast aluminum, not this cast iron flywheel. So maybe the lighter flywheel will get some more RPM out of it. Try to get the pops on video. I don't know if y'all been hearing them. It pops like crazy. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but it's popping. And that's fun. Whew. I did drill out the end of the muffler just a tiny bit. I don't know if you can see it on this camera, but there's a little hole drilling in that baffle. Oh, I got a burp. Ugh. It did make it pop a little bit, but it's a lot more flowy now. Before that, I didn't even get past 6,500 RPM. It was just so much back pressure, so that little hole allowed for more flow to go through the exhaust. Y'all are not supposed to see that. Don't look at that. But I'm gonna go do the RSV now, so I will get you back later whenever we talk some more on the red bike. So I'll see you then. And just like that, right back to the beginning. So y'all remember the beginning of the video? This is exactly where we ended off. I just want to say thank y'all for making it this far in the video. If y'all haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything in the future. Got a lot of projects coming, like that one. Just got new steering. That video is already 1 hour and 30 minutes long, so stay tuned for that. It's gonna be really sick. It's so fun. Got a new bike over there. You're gonna see a little bit more about that later. You obviously know the B200. And I'm kind of messing around with these flathead Briggs motors. This is an 8-horse right here, and I kind of want to do something with them. So they're stupidly cheap around here where I am, and yeah, this one runs great. I threw a little PZ19 Carb. Actually, this is the carb we took off of this bike, so, and it's running pretty good on this 8-horse. So yeah, let me know what you think we should put this on. Definitely open to hear it in the comments. This is the carburetor that came with it. It is gummed up and terrible and don't work. So yeah, thank y'all for watching. Hit the subscribe button. I will see y'all next week.